war. War never changes. And that's exactly the same saying used to describe browser-based modern military RTS shooters. Not really a shooter, but it's a strategy game. And it's kind of like everything you've already seen before, except it's a tiny bit different. In that it plays, it's blasphemy to compare this to Fire Emblem, but the movement system is kind of like that. So you kind of move around on this little grid, square by square grid, and again, similar to Fire Emblem, there's a rock, paper, scissors mechanic. I think it's infantry beats artillery, artillery beats tanks, and the tanks beat infantry. But I imagine this is just the early part of the game. I'm pretty sure it becomes more relevant later on, but I don't know. I couldn't bear to stand playing this game any more than I had to. So you go into here. This is the city building mechanic. It's exactly what you would expect it to be, except maybe a little bit worse. I think they overcomplicate it, because keep in mind this is browser based. It's not a download. It's not like a full package like you'd find on Steam or something. You're not sitting down for hours at a time over the course of a week to play this game. You were picking this up, at work, at school or something to play it for 30 minutes. And I think it's far too complicated for this mess. But then you're like, what about RuneScape? That's complicated. It's a little bit different, but I suppose there's something to be said about what they're doing here, I guess. I just generally stay away from this. Even if it looked good, even if it played well, I'd still be cautious about approaching a browser-based game like this. So as you see here, it doesn't look terrible. It's still that gritty, modern military. I hate this theme so much. It's just, it all looks so generic, and you can very clearly see points where the same destroyed building is all over the map and everything. At the very least, the animations aren't terrible. It looks like it at least has a fairly steady frame rate. A lot of games of a similar ilk only have 10 frames a second or something god awful. At least this is manageable to watch. And I'm going to be ragging on it, and I'm ragging on it already, but it's actually one of the better. It's in the higher tier of echelon when it comes to browser-based games. It seems to work. There's also a story mission going on, or some kind of story going on in the background, but I mean, who cares? It's just gonna be the same old, it's like, you put your hand in a bag and then you take out a little slip of paper, and that tells you what your theme and your story is gonna be. And apparently all these developers draw from this very tiny bag of about 5 slips of paper. There's modern military. That's the absolute most common of these themes. I don't even know why. Modern military is actually a thing of the past, because Call of Duty kind of is leading that. It's leading the force or whatever. It's leading the trend, and it's already in the future. So you have all these games coming through, and it's like, oh, this is all stuff you've seen about 10 years ago. And when I say modern, I mean 2000s, 2000s to now. Actually, not just kind of 2000s. Maybe there should be a new name for that, like retro military, metro modern. I don't know. But yeah, this is a old hat right here, old stuff. Doesn't look terrible though, like I said. The effects there on the explosions and everything, it all looks okay. There's the numbers that pop up. I love seeing numbers tick up. That's good stuff. That's the way you know you're doing stuff, is when numbers pop up. And it is fairly fast paced, as you can see. It's going at a pretty brisk pace. I was actually doing auto combat right here. I might have actually just completely zoned out because I don't remember this at all. I think there's an auto battle system there, and I imagine it keeps in mind the rock paper scissors formula, so you don't have to actually do anything. Which I mean, what is even the point then? Can you imagine if Fire Emblem had auto movement, auto battle? How much it would have just went into the garbage can the first time it went around. And like I always say, why don't you just not use it then? I'm gonna use it if it's gonna make things easier, if it's gonna make it more efficient. It's like if you play Dark Souls and you're like, oh, it's a little bit too easy, so why don't you not just invest your souls? But then you're missing the point. It's in the game. It's integrated. It was put there on purpose. It was put there to take advantage of it. Some games actually do a good job of offering both. So like most games, you know, you'll see normal, difficult, hard, whatever. Let's change the difficulty. Metal Gear Solid 5 did this interesting thing where it would give you a chicken hat if you failed too many times, and that would make the game drastically easier. Except, you know, it would apply that, like, well, you'd be walking around with this goofy looking chicken hat, right? And it would hurt your score. It would make you feel silly. You would know you're going into using this easier system, but there's a penalty. But I don't feel like there's any penalty for using the auto path, auto battle, auto movement, whatever. But then you have to struggle with, but I just want my game to be easy to play, easy to get into. Which makes sense if you're doing it for like the first mission. You're like, alright, just show me what's going on, right? Like if you go back to RPGs, like, just show me this first mission. But then it keeps going, and it keeps going, and you have no interactivity. Like, going back to, can you imagine World of Warcraft having auto path? Would that game be anywhere near as popular if it had auto path and auto battle? Even though the system could be fit pretty easily in there. I've definitely felt like World of Warcraft at times is just your brain is automatically doing the auto path and auto fight and everything. So yeah. So it's just, this game just kind of drones on and on and on. Back at the HQ, I think you can build up your little camp a little bit. You can upgrade units, and every mission you finish, you get some loot. You get a star system, but even though I used the auto battle system, it didn't take away from my stars. If it did take away from my stars, just my innate, I guess you could say, completionist inside of me would want to turn that off. Just something simple like that would be able to change it. Or you go into maybe it has a pop-up like, do you want to use auto path? This is for people who don't necessarily want to struggle with the combat kind of thing, but they never say any of that. So why is it on me to kind of like impose my own self-restrictions, you know what I mean? Back to Dark Souls, like, yeah, if I wanted the game to be more difficult, I can never spend my souls, but that's a self-made restriction, and that's not as, you know, I want to feel like a reward to do the more difficult path, not like I'm intentionally handicapping myself just to get it, just to enjoy the game at a base level. So you can pick your squad, what you bring in with you in combat, you can upgrade them, and I think I actually got a little confused here because I was like, I was upgrading it, but then I was like, no, you're not upgrading it. This kind of goes back to, why do you have to have such a complicated system for the upgrading? You know, it's weird. It's like, do they intentionally like make two games, the base building game and then the combat game, and then they're just kind of like they just kind of smush them together? Like, we have this combat game, which is not that great, but we also have this base building game that we really like, but, you know, people don't want to play just a base building game, so they put those together, but it doesn't work. You can't put two bad games together and make one good game. Like, you know, the old saying is, two wrongs don't make a right, kind of thing. And maybe it's just because I'm listening to this on a recording, but the sound on this all sounds like it went through like a tin filter. It's not like war tapes like you'd hear in Battlefield. This just sounds like really poorly recorded sound effects and music and everything. So I'm just kind of flipping through all these menus. None of it is of importance, but obviously it has to take up 25% of my screen up there with all these different, like, there's like literally like a dozen of these little icons that each have their own little thing, like daily reward, gifts, whatever, crew. And just, why do you have to do that? Do they not realize that it makes the game look worse and it puts them in this category of it's just this, you know, lame ass